The study was so it's not fixing it. Because think about it. 200 years ago, you know what I'm worried about? Dude, I hope we're not hunting in my appendix ruptures. I'm dying out there. I hope I don't get the flu. I'm going to die. Like, I'm seeing, like, worries.
Our worries back then would be like, if we don't shoot 25 deer, we're not going to have enough meat for the winter.
Yeah, I mean, like, so to know that this lie that we all bought into of American dream, of more stuff means better life, more things will make us happy. Dude, that lie is the thing that I think that men are just heaping on themselves and their family. And that's why when Jesus said, listen to me, those things have added stress. Come to me. Like, I'm not adding that. When you abide with me and walk with me, you'll start realizing the weight of those things mean nothing in my presence. But 2,000 years ago, he's speaking this in his first sermon. And 2,000 years later, we're still preaching this sermon that Jesus preached. Like, guys, his presence is the present.
Absolutely.
Like, it's what present will you go buy that's greater today than his presence?
So let's make it relative today. We both have perfectly fine functioning trucks. You've got
funny, I wrote that down.
Do you?
Yeah.
What year's your Tacoma?
Which one? That's just it.
The one you drove today.
It's 08.
You got an '08 Toyota Tacoma. I mean, those things are bulletproof. How many miles you got on it?
200.
200,000.
Yeah.
I've got a 2017 5.6 Tundra, bulletproof. Got 270,000 miles on that thing.
It runs fine.
It runs fine. And yet, because of the American dream, we was talking about this the other day. We was looking at new Tundras and was like,
Yeah, by the way, it's almost a house payment too.
it's almost a house payment. Why? Because we seen somebody else driving down the road and it looked real good.
Man, it's shiny.
We were so happy with
like
our
shiny.
vehicles until we seen what somebody else had.
All right, this is the story I was thinking of. All right, you want a new truck, right? A new Tundra truck.
I don't need you to speak that in my life right now. It makes me stressful.
But think about it. Last week, we're in the woods. I'm driving your truck. You're in the passenger seat. And we come to these limbs, and I go, when you get out and cut them, and you go, man, it's a hunting truck.
It's a hunting truck.
Drive through. We got a brand new Tundra. I'm driving it. We hit those limbs. What's the first thing you're stressed?
First of all,
you're
you would never be driving my new Tundra. And if you ever touched a limb with my new Tundra, you're going to get punched in the throat.
Think about how that works. You want a new something. That new something immediately is going to be stressful when you take it in the woods.
Absolutely.
Isn't it crazy that you think that thing's going to bring you joy? It brings more stress.
I agree.
And I am the one
I brought the point up. You don't have to preach to me.
Well, I'm saying I'm the one that is thinking I'll like this. It'll make my life better.
I'm stressed that I don't have it now.
But really, if I got in your truck and we did, to know how you would be stressed. Now,
You know who would be stressed? My wife would be stressed that I'm putting miles on my new truck. I love my wife, but she gets stressed over me driving my truck. You're putting too many miles on that truck. It's got 270 at this point. We are past that point, but it's still a great truck. And I guess what the point is that sometimes you need to stop and you need to look at the situation and you say, hold on a second. Just because somebody else has something doesn't mean I have to put that stress on me to get it.
no.
Because we've had to talk each other off the cliff. I'll send you pictures. You'll send me pictures
Of a truck.
Of trucks. And we're like, now, can we afford it? We probably could afford it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we need it, though?
No.
My truck is running fine.
But that very thing it's speaking to us as a man, it's this happy. And happy is happenstance.
And trying to be like everybody else. I think one of the biggest problems we face is
the comparison trap.
we've got to be like somebody else, or we got to be better. And that puts stress on us as men.
Well, or I would say mine's not comparison as much as I like it. I mean, I just like shiny things. I like nice things. I love fixing trucks up, and I like it.
I'm willing to pay. This is how stupid things can be in your life sometimes. I've got a perfectly good 1794 Toyota Tundra. It's got 270,000 miles on it. Yeah. But it doesn't have the nice screen like Lee's got in his new truck. His screen is like a 8x12 screen.
It's bigger than any iPad I've ever seen.
Mine's like a 5x5. It doesn't have Apple Play. It doesn't have, I can't adapt to the way. And I've contemplated going and buying a new truck just so I can have a nice screen. And my wife told me the other day, she's like, you don't even listen to the radio. And I'm like,
True story.
you've got a point there. And I said, but I want something where I can put my Waze and my GPS and it adapts, because my truck doesn't do that. She's like, so you want to go buy a brand new truck just so you can have a GPS? I was like,
Somebody listening right now is going, hey, bud, for like $500, you can get a brand new.
actually, I priced it at 600 something bucks. But I guess that's where you have to call a timeout and say, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Do I really have it that bad? Are there things in my life that I can just fix and not have to compare myself to everybody else? And, back in the day, the old mossy oak camo and stuff like that, we used to think that just poor people wore this.
coming back around.
Nowadays, that is it.
It's coming back around.
It's going to come back. Just hold on to that old truck. It's coming back around. You know what?
So all right. When I think of this, I'm thinking that'll make me happy.
I hope that's relatable.
happenstance. The crazy part, if you were to talk to men, and finance is their greatest stress, and finances is their greatest worry and anxiety, that what Jesus was saying when his first sermon was, let's take inventory of where your treasure is.
Yep.
Where is your joy? Where's your hope? Where is it? Because you're stressed about those things, and those are like you happening to have those things are Social Security. The word in itself is security. And how many men, and I'm use that to reference like Roth IRAs and 401ks and all that, of how many men look at the dial every day, at the NASDAQ, and they look at it, and depending how it goes up and down, their stress level, because they find their security in that.
Sure.
And when you really believe that that's got you, no wonder you're stressed.
Sure.
Because think about it. Has the market ever collapsed? Of course. Yeah, and it may be today. That's why I'm checking every day. Social Security, by the way, should we be secure in the government? They're just knocking it out of the park, right? I mean, they're killing it. Like, I guess what I'm saying is no wonder men are stressed, because they have their happiness, their joy in something that cannot be controlled and is not looking out for the best of them. And so when Jesus is speaking this truth, he's going, guys, look to me. All of those things you need, clothes. Did I not clothe the birds? Did I not clothe the fields? Like, I got you. Look to me. And the fear that I have that so many men are leaning in is all of those things are happenings that are happenstances. I don't know what today. I don't know what the market will do this year. I have no idea. But
I'm not going to worry about it either.
when I have my confidence, my joy in him, I would just lean into some guys and go, when was the last time you spent more time thinking about his presence
Yeah.
than any investment you have, any values that you have? When was the last time you've spent more on that?
I don't want to get way off track here, but you've said the word joy, and you said happiness. I want you to understand that there's a clear line of difference when it comes to being happy and having joy. The Bible says in Nehemiah, it says, "For the joy of the Lord is my strength." Now, the joy of the Lord, the joy of knowing He's my God, He's my vine that I abide in. The joy of knowing I have joy in knowing that I'm connected to Him. Joy is not dictated on circumstance. My happiness is. I think he doesn't say let the happiness. He said the joy of the Lord. Don't let your. But there's so many guys that we search for happiness, but our happiness is dictated on whether or not things are running right or not. Exactly. You are so happy when you buy that new truck, but when you found out that 30,000 miles down the road that fuel cell or something blew or what, I don't even know if I'm using the right word. I'm not a mechanic, but all of a sudden that $70,000 truck is sitting on the side of the road and you got to call a tow truck. You don't have happiness. And that thing that you thought was going to bring you happiness is you're not happy. But can I tell you something, that when you have the joy of the Lord, it doesn't matter if your truck breaks down or not, you still have the joy of the Lord.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to look at life and say, I just want to be happy, 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 because our happiness is dictated on whether something's going right. We're happy whether we've got money in our pocket or not. We're happy. You can be poor and still have joy.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
You know, and I think we need to focus on
people I met.
the Lord. So piggybacking off of what you said a little while ago, you know, we're talking about finances. We're talking about the stress of work, relationships, and we can talk about relationships a little bit more in depth. But piggybacking off the scripture in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, the Bible says, "Come to me." It says, this is actually Jesus talking. He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens. I will give you rest." And I think what we have to understand is all of us qualify for that, because all of us can find ourselves weary. All of us can find ourselves heavy burden. And in other words, come to me, all who are stressed. But here's what you've got to do. You've got to understand. He says, come to me. We've got to be willing to say, you know what? First and foremost, I've got to go to God. I've got to understand that my source, my strength, my joy comes from the Lord. I can't go run into this thing. I can't go run into that thing. Jesus says it very, very plainly. Come to me, all who are weary. It says in Matthew chapter 11, starting verse 28, then Jesus said, come to me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens, for I will give you rest. He says, take my yoke upon you. He says, let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. I need rest sometimes, man. I need rest in my mind and my soul and my heart. I'm not going to find it in more stuff in the world. He says, come to me, all who are weary. I get weary sometimes. And I have to remember, I got to go to God.
Right.
I've got to go to him. But we're talking about stress when it comes to finances, work, and those can be relatable. But what about relationships? How does stress affect us when it comes to marriages and kids? What are some areas that you think that?
We just did 2 weeks ago. We just did a marriage retreat in Ohio, and I love to lean in to people, especially I don't know them. I go, "Hey, why'd you marry him?" And do you know how selfish we are? And the gospel reveals our selfishness, but marriage is one of the greatest relationships that reveals our selfishness. I love to lean in. Hey, why'd you marry this person? They go, because they made me happy. They made me laugh. They start. Do you realize that it was contingent on you? You married them because you're so selfish. It was about how they made me feel. She makes me feel this way because she's hot. You know, whatever that thing is. Here's what I know. So what happens when he don't make you laugh no more? What happens when she ain't she ain't dolled up like you thought she was, and life and gravity's taken over, and all of a sudden now that was all these things that I put my weight in, and now it's not there anymore. I realize that when I married my wife and we were loving life and we had these simple lives, man, who knew that ministry and work and kids was going to add all of this relational stress into this thing? Who knew that we were going to have to then in that moment know, hey, listen, by the way, you're not my joy. And I realize, and the foundation of a lot of our marriage retreats, they're based off of, you have put a lot of hope and a lot of joy in something that cannot bring it. They cannot bring the joy that knowing God can. And so you asked relational. I am heartbroken at the men that walk through marriages and life so stressed, when really it's like, hey, time out, bud. You're looking to her to produce something that she'll never produce.
Yeah. So that's just one thing when it comes to relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Let's think about this. Think about the stress that comes when you've been doing everything your way, and then you get in this marriage, and guess what? There's another person that has other opinions.
Wait a minute. You mean like y'all are different or something?
Yep. They don't see things the way you see it. They don't look at things the way you see it. They don't operate finances the way you operate finances. How many arguments has occurred in marriages because of finances? on how we handle money. Okay, and those are things that can be fixed, and all of this can be fixed. But we have to be. Listen, we need to be transparent about this. That marriage is going to bring about stressful situations when it comes to how you raise your kids. You know, who your kids can date. That puts stress on me when it comes to my kids finding relationships and being in relationships. Puts stress on me as a father. You know, when I think about my kids and when I think about them going through stuff, I hurt. I get stressed out when my kids are going through hard times. Especially, and then it brings more stress on when, you know, you find out that your wife knew that your daughter had a boyfriend and you didn't know.
It got real just now.
It got real. Has that happened to you?
No, not yet.
What about the boyfriend kissed your daughter like 2 weeks ago and you didn't know it, but your wife knew it like 2 hours after it happened, and I was just like,
It sounds like you know somebody.
yeah. I'm asking for a friend,
Okay.
but no, but and I know that's silly and simple stuff, but I'm telling you.
No, it ain't.
I'm telling you, when it comes to stuff like that, friction, and it brings stress. And when you don't start seeing eye to eye in situations when it comes to your spouse, and, you know, priorities are not the same and directions are not the same, man, that brings stress. Mm-hmm. So what can that cause if you have stress in a relationship like that?
So remember, they're gauges, feelings, stress, they're gauges, not guides. The first thing that if it's not the gauge of, I need help. If you run off of the guide, it guides you, man, I'm telling you, I think there are so many couples that it is literally just a sit-down conversation going, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, you have put a lot of weight on they're making me happy or they're making me happy, when Jesus, you know, in the two analogies that he uses, he goes, what are you doing? You're putting weight in something that will never produce what you need. It's never going to do it. And so you're talking about marriage. I would say even in friendships, even in work relationships of going, hey, I had an expectation and they didn't meet that expectation. There's this unmet expectation, whatever that is. Talking about stress of going, I had it played out this way in my head. I think that's why when Jesus asked the question, do you believe I got you? Because you're stressed about these things, relational, financially, whatever. Do you believe it? Even to the point he asked like this, he said it like this to two ways in Matthew and in Luke. He goes, you have a little faith. Meaning, like, where was your faith? Where was your hope? Where were you believing? Because remember, guys, this word believe, the word is pisteuo, and it's not an intellectual knowledge to believe that God's got this. It's not just an intellectual knowledge. It's an experiential knowledge, meaning that when we sat down in these chairs, we believed that they would hold us, but we didn't stand here. We shifted the weight of our life into the chair going, you got me. And I think there's so many guys, they're so stressed going, I got to sit down. I'm so stressed. I'm carrying this weight. And he goes, come to me. Come to me, that or heavy
I can hold
like,
you up.
I got this. Come to me. And they go, I believe you could do it. I 100% believe
There's
it.
a perfectly good stump over here.
Yeah. And so when he goes, where's your faith?
Yep.
This pisteuo is not an intellectual knowledge. It's not that you know the answer's Jesus, right? When Aaron Aho was on the podcast, he told the story of the Sunday school teacher that asked a question, and the little boy said, the answer's Jesus. I don't know how to get to it, but I know the answer's Jesus. Every guy, I believe, knows that.
Yep.
But have you pisteuoed? Have you shifted the weight of your life into going, I'm seeking you first?
Yep.
And all of these other things, it'll take care of itself.
I want to circle back just a little bit, and we got to put our mature hats on here for a second, because this is a real thing. You first get married, talking about marriage. When you first get married, listen, the immediate stress triggers are finances. You know, you get in there and you're like, how are we going to pay for this house? How are we going to do for this? How are we going to do So finances is really a big thing, and it kind of lingers throughout your life. But when you start getting into our ages, how many know? And if you're out there and you're our age, things start changing in life. I mean, you don't.
What used to be
I hurt all the time now. Does that make sense?
Man.
You don't. Your body changes. Things changes in life, and expectations of things and relationships. And guess what? Some of us are like in our 40s and 50s and still think that we should operate like a 20-year-old.
absolutely. My body reminds me it doesn't though.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But on an emotional level, does that bring stress thinking that I'm not as good as I used to be. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I can't do things the way I used to do. And I think if we're not careful, and I know this is a touchy subject, but I think if we're not careful, we allow that stuff, if it's not addressed, to cause friction between us and our spouse, cause friction between us in situations because,
Sure.
it just, these are things that you have to sit down and talk about. And I think one of the biggest problems that men have is they don't communicate about it and they don't deal with it, and they just put it back in a reservoir and just let it, build back up, build up, and before you know it, midlife crisis. I got to go buy a Harley, or I got to go do this, or I got to do that. But it's a real thing. You're going to face issues in your life that are going to cause stress in relationships, and if you don't go to God, if you don't talk to God, I'm telling you, it's going to be like a freight train.
Yeah, and so one of the greatest men's discipleship guys, and if every guy would ever be honest, you ask yourself this question often: do I still have it? And it was one of the greatest questions that was ever taught. And we ask the question, do we still have it? Well, we look to our wife, we look to work, we look to all these accolades of going, hey, I'm still crushing it here, still got it here. Like there's this thing that we're always asking, do I still have it? And when our wife doesn't answer that question, now granted, that's something that Brooke teaches so well to women because, again, men won't hardly ever admit this, but men are starved for affirmation. They are starved for someone to speak that truth. And so that's why they'll work their butt off to do that project so that at least they're affirmed in, look at what I accomplished, look at what I did, because they're trying to answer that question. But men are starved for that, and they're looking for it. And when they don't feel like they are enough, what happens is that stress. Starts building and building and building. And when they don't think they're enough, they start looking to what you said, like, I'll get the car. I'll feel enough then. I'll have the midlife crisis. I'll get the truck. Mine and yours weren't. Ours were never going to be the Corvette midlife crisis. It was going to be the jacked up Tundra that's, sitting on 35s and looking right. Like our midlife crisis, I think, looks a little bit different than it did in the 80s and the 90s. But I'm saying, I appreciate you saying, let's be mature and put our hats on. We're still asking the question, do I still have it? And if my wife doesn't answer it, I'll start looking somewhere else to take that stress off of me.
So that's the area that I wanted to lead to, because if you don't understand that stress is coming, we're changing, but you know who else is changing? Your wives are changing.
Mm-hmm. By the way, both of our wives, Andrea and Brooke, they're like a wine. They're getting finer with time.
Absolutely.
Dude, me and you, we're aging like milk. Just getting chunky and white, bro. They're like a fine wine. You're just chunky and white.
This is happening, expired.
Bro. That's how we're aging.
I wasn't expecting that. That's so good, though. This whole milk doesn't turn to buttermilk.
Bro, I'm telling you, Karen.
But here, that's so good. It's done curdled. But with that being said, their bodies change, their hormones change, and there again, keep your mature hats here. Their wants physically from you change.
Absolutely.
Back in the day when you first got married, everybody's just touchy-feely. But I mean, it is an obvious thing. It's a true thing that the older women get. Sometimes they're not always going to want to be touched and loved on, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. So that causes, that causes stress in a man's life.
100%.
And if you don't know that that's coming, and if you are not going to God in prayer and asking what's going to happen, is this: if you're not getting the attention from your wife, and then this little blonde thing walks by one day and winks at you, all of a sudden, how many guys do you know lost their family, lost their home, lost their ministry, lost their purpose because they were stressed in their relationship with their wife because of a season? They went going to God in prayer, and instead of staying connected to the vine, instead of abiding in the Lord, they felt like they needed to get their happiness and joy from another relationship. And what happened?
How many times have we been heading to deer camp having this conversation for years? We're both 46 years old, and for years we've been having this conversation, and every year it gets more real. And that conversation of, man, another one of our buddies fell into this. Yeah. Another one of our buddies fell into this year after year. And when you and I really have these hard conversations of going, so what was really happening? To the root of what we're saying, to the root of what happened was, I didn't look to him to be the one that come to me. Those who are stressed, those that are carrying this weight. He said, come to me. All I know is the last couple guys I've talked to that look to something else. Listen, it wasn't because that blonde was hotter than their wife. Do you know what it was? When I'm with my wife, I'm stressed. I'm this, man, this girl over here never asked me to take the trash out. She never goes, hey, what did you buy over here on this? And what was this? Man, she never asked me those questions. She never pisses me off like that. All of a sudden, you realize I'm not stressed with her. Man, I'm happy over here. What are you talking about? This over here is, you were thinking this was the thing you're coming to for all of this faith, hope, and love? No, like you've now moved it. You've shifted it. It's just you moved the goal line, and it was a lateral move. The truth is that when we look to something other than Jesus Christ, prepare to be disappointed. Absolutely. Prepare to have more stress, more failure, more hurt.
Absolutely. And understand, the more you have in life, the more that's at stake too.
Oh man, yeah. And we say this,
and
so
the enemy knows.
Yeah,
that
right
too,
there.
Josh.
We say it every time, and if I say it every time, I hope every man listening realizes there's a real enemy. He has a real and active plan right now to destroy your life, to destroy your marriage, and he has an active plan right now towards your children, and he's working it. It's Friday night. It's Friday night. The enemy has a plan right now towards my children. One's going to one football game, and one's going to the other football game, and I promise you, he has a plan.
Absolutely.
And you talking about stress? If I have to shoulder that and be protector, provider, and pastor to my kids, and I control it, no. Do you know what happens? Come to me.
Yep.
You're the one, Father, that can protect. You're the one that stress, literally, when I realize you clothe the field, how much more valuable am I than the birds of the air? When I sit in your presence and abide with you, it's gone.
Yep. That's going back to what you said. I know you're there, but do I trust you? You've got to learn to trust God.
Oh yeah, that whole. There's some men that need to move from an intellectual knowledge, believing, to an experiential knowledge of believing. Because when you abide, it's one thing to sit down with your Bible and read a Bible verse. You could read John 15 every day for the rest of your life. It don't mean you've shifted the weight of your life in it. And the thing that I think some guys are waiting on is they're waiting on the stress to be gone. They're waiting on this weight to leave me, for this anxiety to be gone. Stop. That's not it. Here's what I love. One of the greatest stories I love is Corrie ten Boom. She lived through the Holocaust. Great writer and speaker. She was so stressed. She was gripped with stress, worry, and fear. She couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. And her dad came in one night to tell her good night. And he said, "What's wrong, Corrie?" And she said, "Daddy, I'm stressed. I'm so gripped with this weight. And he said, what weight? She said, all these men are getting snatched from their home and they're dying. Dad, what's going to happen? What happens if, if you get snatched, what will I do? And I'm worried about something that hadn't even happened yet. And he sat down on the bed with her and he said, Corey, when we go to the bus station, when do I give you the ticket? She said, right before we load. He said, yeah, because I knew you might not keep up with it, might lose it. I have what you need right when it's time for you to step into it.
Yep.
And you're stressed about something that you don't have. I want you to know that if and when the day comes that I might be snatched from this house, and so will you, that God's waiting at the train station to give you everything you need. And I think so many men sit with the Bible and go, all right, these guys said abide with him, to lean in on him. These guys were saying, hey, come to me. All right, so I'm here, but I don't feel any different. Listen, when you step into that thing, I promise you has everything you need. And the thing that you're carrying, that you're worried and stressed about, he already has a solution. You're carrying a weight that he goes, hey, bud, I already got it. You're carrying something you shouldn't be carrying. That's on me. You make a terrible God. Give it to me. I got this.
There's a difference between being in God's presence and surrendering in God's presence. And I think there's a lot of guys that find themselves in the presence of God, but yet they don't want to surrender what's going on. And I think that goes back to what you was just talking about, how, we need to surrender what we got going on, because here's the thing about stress that'll kill you. You will go a whole year and stress can overwhelm you. But if you look back after you come to your senses, how much of that year could you have enjoyed?
Yeah.
How much of that, if you could go back and take back, and you miss so much stuff because you was consumed with stress.
The enemy's come to steal, kill, and destroy.
That's right.
And he's destroying joy in some guys.
Absolutely.
He's stealing peace. And I actually think it's awesome in a couple of the stories. Jesus steered into their wants and needs to go, how's this working for you?
Absolutely.
Luke chapter 12, verse 13, Jesus is in a crowd, and this guy comes up to him and says, teacher, please tell my brother to divide our father's estate with me. Do you know what the guy literally asked? Jesus, make it so I can get more money.
Yep.
And when I read this, a while back ago, I read this and I had this thought. Trey, what God has gifted you with financially, money, because he's talking about money. Again, this is a stressful situation. It's called stress in a relationship with his brother. It's called anxiety and stress and fight and money. And he moves into it and goes, hey, give me more. All the money that God's given you in the past, have you been perfect with your investments?
No.
All right. So what we're saying is I'm not batting even 500. But I've made some financial decisions that my wife has looked back, and no wonder she's stressed about money.
I'm like 0.75.
Really think about what this is happening. Should Jesus give us more money? If he's watching how we've handled everything, should he just keep he literally goes, what did you say? Hey, you've been watching me, how I've been dealing with my money. Give me more. Should he just give you more?
I don't like the way this is going, Josh.
The reason why I say that is,
kind of feel like we need to change.
Because when he leans in on this, what, you want more of the thing that you failed in? You want more opportunities to have more stress? And I love his answer. Verse 14, Jesus said, friend, who made me a judge to decide these things over you? Listen, there's something you need to worry about. Guard against every kind of greed.
Yeah.
Life is not measured by how much you own. Jesus asked the most powerful question. Do you guard yourself? So we were saying the enemy's come to steal, kill, and destroy. And he's gifted us. Man, God has blessed us. If you make $30,000, I think the number's maybe it's 35 something. But if you make $30,000, you are in the 1 percentile
top
of the
1%,
world. Yep. We are so blessed.
Yep.
And you know what he said? I'm so stressed. Jesus, this is causing such stress between our relationship. Give us more of this. And he goes, all right, time out. This is what I need you to do as a man. You better guard yourself from greed. And do you know that's not the thing? We don't preach this enough.
No.
We talk to men that are stressed about finances, that this now has caused relational issues. I think what we really need to start talking about is, hey, bud, have you guarded yourself against the hellish sin of discontent? That's what the Bible calls it. It's a hellish sin of discontent.
Hey guys, we just finished part 2 on being stressed out. I'm stressed out because I'm ready for episode 3 coming up. And we've got it for you on the next episode. So don't miss out on episode 3. Like and subscribe. Josh, are you stressed?
Because you're talking. Let's go.
I love you. God bless you. Catch you on the next one.